Welcome to Bullion Bulletin, this second edition of Asia Pacific Precious Metals Conference in Singapore. So my first guest tonight, Mr. Huynh Trung Khanh from Vietnam. He is a managing director of VGC and he is also a consultant to World Gold Council. Welcome, sir. Welcome to Singapore and welcome to second Asia Pacific Precious Metals Conference.
I'm very glad to meet you again this year.
So my first question, generally the last year what we saw, there is a little increase in the jewelry demand in Vietnam according to WGC figure, and also there is a drop in investment demand.
Of course.
So what is the reason, the rise in jewelry and decrease in the investment?
I see that because of the Vietnamese government policy, the central bank now is much more supportive to develop the jewelry manufacturing industry. So they encourage they take out a lot of red tapes, no more licensing on the gold jewelry, retailing and particular manufacturing. Nearly they call it, like we will have in my presentation tomorrow, and liberalize the gold jewelry sector of Vietnam. But still, they still control very tightly the retail investment sector, meaning that the sales of gold bar, so which is the main reason why the gold jewelry have increased, why the bar business have a decrease. But still in Vietnam, you can say that still 30% is only gold jewelry and then 70% still bar business.
So I heard that Vietnam Traders, Gold Traders Association, they have written to central bank to introduce number one, the gold monetization, something called to take out the under the pillow gold in the system.
Correct.
For the manufacturing purpose. And secondly, I also heard that they have written to the government that to take some curb, to relax some curb on the gold import, especially to manufacture jewelry.
Yes.
So what is the development on that?
The development is now we are correct. The Traders Association and SBV is working on a proposal, a joint proposal to government for policy, how to record the gold monetization scheme, meaning that we try to mobilize the gold that's still with the population, estimated about 500 tons, and use that gold to get loans, US dollar loans, by doing gold swaps or loans with collaterals in order to put the US dollar into the economy while still keeping the gold for the people, right? And this gold, monetization scheme, it can be linked to the gold, gold loan. Where you can use 10%, 20% of this amount of gold to lend back to the manufacturer without having to import from overseas. So I think that is a very good scheme that the association is currently working with the State Bank of Vietnam in order to have that materialized by putting under legislation by the government. And hopefully we will see it to happen in the next 6 months of the year.
And what about that relaxation on the manufacturers, whichever gold they can bring for the manufacturing purpose?
For the time, the first step is that while waiting for the gold monetization scheme, I think that the central bank also is working on the granting the imports, physical imports of gold to be used as raw material for the gold jewelry manufacturing industry, right? Because in the past 5 years, there is no more official imports, and we have to import through the borders. Or now the policy is to allow them to import at least 20-25 tons per year in order to develop the production and also to encourage the export of Vietnamese gold toward the other markets of the world.
At present, is there any export happening from Vietnam?
Yes, there is exports, but not in the great figures.
Because
Right,
15 tons
some
is
of the company like P&J, Doji have exported gold jewelry, but not in great amount, meaning that it's will be a few tons, which is negligible.
basically going to, this is to Hong Kong or Dubai or any other.
I think that like P&G, they exported not only to Hong Kong or to the region, but they have also got that export contract to Europe, to US also as well, right? So of course cannot right now export to Dubai or to those markets which is too competitive, right? But they have a niche market all over the region, and we think that with the skilled labor in Vietnam, if we are supported by the central bank, then we can expand the export capacity of the Vietnamese company.
So my last question, I also heard that now central bank has allowed the commercial banks to provide loans to jewelers as a working capital. So is this, of course, it must be.
I think that no, that I know on the gold loan. Right? What do you mean a gold loans or what?
Or it is a gold loan or it's a working capital loan? I heard that commercial banks are now allowed to give loans to the jewelers. So it's a
for a certain period of time. The central bank has asked the commercial to stop all kind of loans to the gold company, because they're afraid that the gold company use the loan to so-called speculate on the gold price and everything. So it's very risky, right? But since last year, they have reauthorized the loans of capitals and the loan of gold, if there is gold. But mostly now it's in the form of capitals. So those big companies like a P&J, like Doji, do not have any problem getting actually fund loans or capital loans from the commercial banks right now. But in the future, like I said, if we have that gold loan scheme, then the program, the financing will be expanded to gold loans, which can in turn help the Vietnamese gold industry to develop.
My last question, what are you looking at? How Vietnam is looking at to integrate itself with the rest of the ASEAN market?
Well, I think that right now, under the eye of the World Gold Council, any international organization like Metal Focus, Vietnam is one of the top number 3. We have Vietnam, Indonesia, and Thailand, VIT, right? And Vietnam for some time is one of the biggest, right? But because of the restructuring of the market, that Vietnam now a little bit lesser than Thailand or Indonesia. But I think that the potential for Vietnam is very big, because we have nearly 100 million consumers, and the GDP per capita is still increasing, purchasing power is increasing, and the Vietnamese people have a very close affinity to gold. So I think that there is no reason why the people will turn their back to gold. And then I think the gold consumption in Vietnam, my thinking is continue to grow, and of course also have the industry, the manufacturing industry to grow along.
So, thank you, sir.